Hi, are you writing a story with a best friend? Are you writing a story with a sidekick? Have you ever read a story with a best friend or a sidekick and you wondered why they were even part of the story or why the main character even liked them to begin with? If so, then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Kammi with Flash University, and today we're talking about how to create side characters, besties, sidekicks, all of those that have high impact, that really resonate with readers, that feel like they move the plot along, that feel like they're part of everything. So today I'm bringing you 5 tips, and stick around because I've actually got a bonus tip at the end. So tip number 1 is to know their backstory. Now this might not sound important to you because it's just a side character or it's just this person or whatever, but really every character that has any impact on the story needs to have a backstory. Now, do you have to write out their whole life story? No, but you have to know general things about them. Gender, age, what region are they from, what country are they from, what language do they speak, what religion are they, is religion even a part in your book? Maybe not. If so, if it's not, then it's not an important detail, right? But what are the important details? Is this a story about culture? If so, this country fights with that country. If so, then culture is really important, and where that person's from is extremely important. So you need to know the important parts of their backstory and the parts of their backstory that influence who they are, how they interact with the world. Those are the parts you need to know. You do not need to know how they make their eggs for breakfast unless who they are as a person is a foodie. And then if they are a foodie, they're going to be very, very careful about how they make their eggs. Some people are really particular about that. Do not make my sister eggs. She won't like them. She has to make them herself. But that's her personality, and it's an important part of her personality, right? So it depends on, shout out to my sister, she's gonna love I put that in that video. Anyway, so who they are, their backstory is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is, I touched on it a little bit, their hobbies, their personality. Are they really athletic? Are they kind of nerdy? Do they love reading? Do they love writing? Do they love sports? Do they love outside? Do they love inside? You don't have to, I hate those 1,000 questions, those questionnaires, 1,000 questions to ask yourself about your character. So blah, 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 blah. Don't do those. Those are a waste of your time. Garbage advice. Sorry if anybody's watching this and they made one of those or filled one of those out. Waste of your time. You need to know the parts of their personality that affect the story. There are going to be parts of their past or parts of their personality that don't have any impact, but there are going to be possible subplots. Those are going to be important if you want to increase the tension in the story. If you have a scene where you're like, this feels flat, because if it does, then there's not enough character motivation, there's not enough tension, and you need to go look at different people's hobbies and what they might be thinking about in that moment, and then have it conflict with someone else. And even if they're just practicing something, maybe they're practicing the viola, shout out to my daughter who plays the viola, maybe they're just practicing the viola for the first time and they're practicing with some friends. Maybe their goal is to just make it through, and maybe their mom's in the other room thinking, I'm paying for these practices and I'm and I think she's playing and she's not really working. I don't know. What is it? How do their goals mesh up, and how do they conflict? And you won't know that if you don't know their backstory and their personalities. Tip number 3 is, what is their relationship to the main character? Are there romantic feelings or not? Have they been friends for a long time? Did they just meet? Are they kind of frenemies? All of that kind of matters for the dynamic of the situation that you're writing. So tip number 4 is, what role do they play in the plot? Now, an issue that comes up a lot is when a character pops up just to do something and then they're gone again. They don't really matter. They don't really interact with other people. They're quiet when they are there. If they are not a quiet personality, they should be speaking and interacting with the other characters. So you need to know what their role is in the plot so that you know how often they should be showing up and things like that. They should never just show up to rescue people, right? And then tip number 5 is consistency in their arc. So pick an arc. Each character in the book can have their own arc, even if they are a side character and they feel not important to you. They can have an arc. And if they do, a story that I think does a fantastic job with multiple story arcs is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and I will put a link below. And what she does is she masterfully weaves multiple stories in. It's a whole series, and you have about 6 or 7 main characters, and they each have their own subplots, and everything's sort of intertwining. That's the beauty of what can happen, is you can make something that feels intricate, and even if that's not your goal. If your goal is light and fluffy, it's okay. It still applies, and it still can feel rich almost to the person reading. So with character arcs, you want to make sure that, first of all, the core of who that character is stays the same. The bulk of things. If they're a foodie, they'll probably always be a foodie, right? They learn to appreciate people who struggle with cooking, and that's their character arc, right? Or they learn to appreciate their own cooking, or maybe they don't have the money to go out anymore and they have to learn at it. Not the point. The point is that it happens slowly over time. So there are things that will not change about them, and there are things that will slowly change over time. And whatever it is that slowly changes over time needs to be important for either the plot as a whole or the subplot for that character. So my pro tip number 6 is, there is a book called A Whack on the Side of the Head. And it sounds crazy. And it sounds even crazier for me to tell you this was a textbook I used in a college course. Yep. And it was one of the better books I have read in my life. It's fantastic. One of the things that he talks about is finding the right answer. And I think with school, we get used to finding the right answer. Fill in the blank. Here's this multiplication or multiple choice answer test. Choose the right answer, right? We get so stuck in choosing the right answer that we don't even know how to think outside the box anymore. So he has an idea about how to do that, and it is to take the first answer, the right answer that you just know is that right answer. Take that answer and throw it away. Throw it out the window. Now come up with the second right answer that just feels perfect, feels right, and throw it out the window. The thing with this is, if you have thought of the perfect right answer, so have hundreds of thousands of other people. If you thought of the second right answer, maybe 50,000 people came up with that. I'm just throwing numbers out, y'all. I don't know. Just roll with it, okay? So maybe half the people came up with that. Maybe a quarter of the people came up with that right answer, but a large group of people came up with that right answer. If you get to the third and the fourth and even the fifth answer that could just feel right, then you're going to be in new territory. This is what people do who revolutionize tech, who revolutionize any profession, really. I'm really just thinking of Steve Jobs. If he was thinking of the first right answer, he never would have come up with an iPod, right? I mean, just he never would have come up with, let's see, what was it? Y'all tell me in the comments below, what was the music player that came out way before the iPad and the iPhone? Oh man, can't think of it. Either way, this was the precursor to the technology that went into the iPhone and everything. It was that your own personal little, you could play your own music on it. If he was thinking of this, the right answer, he would have been in line with everybody else. If you want to be different in a good way, you have to think about the parts that matter and how to weave those in. And you have to think of the third, the fourth, or the fifth right answer. So there's my pro tip. And if you want to see more videos on how to create masterful characters, memorable characters, I have a whole series and I will link it here. And stick around, click like and subscribe, and let me know what you liked from this video. Comment below about what you would like to see me make videos of, or if I missed anything. And stick around. If you click the bell, YouTube will let you know next time I upload a video. I'll see you soon.